back. I'm John Alden, the stuntman minister, and I've kind of taken over this show from Patrick, but I'm going to give it back to Patrick now. Thank you for watching.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for coming back to Focus on Arts. And thank you, John. And if I really thought you were trying to take my job, I would probably just have to walk away because I'm sure you could beat me up. So, but listen, we've talked a lot about stuntman. We've covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time, and but I know that you've got some passions in your life, and more than anything, I've heard you talk about your kids. And so I would love to hear more about your kids and John the dad, if we can.
Well, you know, I'm pretty blessed. I just turned 60, and I have a 7.5-year-old daughter and an almost 9-year-old son.
Oh.
And never wanted kids because of what happened in my childhood, which I haven't spoke about yet. But anyway, they are my life. You know, as a Christian, God hates divorce, but unfortunately it happened in my marriage. But as you know, I'm a full-time dad. I'm fully dedicated to my children. I have them at least 15 days a month, if not more. And, you know, I have them into baseball, BMX, motocross. Like I said, my daughter just won the national BMX race for the 7 novice against the boys in Chula Vista. My son got third. But I am there to be a dad. My dad disappeared when I was 9, so I am totally focused on being the dad. That's my first and foremost thing in my life outside my walk with Jesus is taking care of my kids.
No, and I definitely know. We've tried to do this a couple of times, and in each case, the only reason that you couldn't was because you had to meet with your kids, and I really appreciate that. I mean, I understand where that's coming from because that's so important. I also came from a home where my dad didn't leave, but he was he wasn't
there.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. It was a scary environment. And you know, that does those kind of things as children do stuff to you.
They
you know,
stick.
Yeah, that stick with you, and then you have to grow up. You've mentioned that you walked away from your job or from your career for a while. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, you know, I struggled. My dad committed suicide when I was 9 years old, basically in front of me. He came up and told me he loved me, walked out the back door, opened the garage, and never came out. The next time I saw him, he was on the stretcher. The next time I saw him, it was at his funeral. So my relationship from my dad, and I don't remember anything from 9 years old back, I don't remember anything.
Oh my gosh.
It's like wiped clean. But, so anyway, that was my reason not to be a dad. Unfortunately, fortunately, when God sent my ex-wife my way, she put her foot down, and she was a little girl from Mississippi, and she said, "We're going to talk about kids, or we're not going to date." And I'll tell you how it works. The moment my son was born, he had the cord around his neck, so he was almost a blue baby. And they got him out, and they put him on the mom, and then they put him on the little cart. As soon as I walked to him, his little hand grabbed my thumb, and I about passed out. I had that feeling.
Yeah, you were.
And so I try every day to be the best dad I can be. I ask God to give me strength. I fail miserably at times. I know I do. And a lot of it's probably because all the broken bones in my body. I don't have the patience I used to have. But my kids love me, and I love being a parent. As we know, I'm going to go from here to pick them up for the rest of the day and for the weekend. And but being a parent is the greatest gift. And but yeah, the reason I walked away from the film business, it was about 1989. I just finished another 48 Hours, and at that time, I really didn't have a relationship with God. I knew who He was. I was raised Lutheran, but I had dated a girl, an actress, and I went, "Oh, this is it. I'm in love," and I thought I could fill the hole in my heart from my dad. And unfortunately, she broke up with me, and I decided to torture myself, and I went on an 18-month run of drugs.
Oh, man.
And so I walked away from the film business. I had the peace of mind to do that. And I locked myself in my condominium in Toluca Lake for 18 months.
Oh, my gosh. What brought you out?
I heard the voice of God in a hotel room.
Oh, wow.
As the big book of Alcoholic Anonymous says, it talks about a spiritual awakening. As a Christian, we know God intervenes. I was in a hotel room on January 12, 1992. 10:30 on Sunday night, and I was trying to get loaded again. I couldn't take the pain in my brain anymore.
Right.
And I heard a voice. The hotel room went quiet, and a voice said to me, and it was the voice of God, audible, not in my heart. It said, "You will not pick up the phone again for drugs and alcohol after 10:30 tonight, after 11 o'clock tonight." And I went, "Wow, that's funny." And then the voice started again instantly and said, "But you will go back to Alcoholics Anonymous for me." Well, being the good drug addict that I was at that time, I dialed from 10:30 to 11 to try to find my drug dealer. And then for some reason, I put the phone down, and I woke up around 9 in the morning, and I called my mom. And my family had done tough love with me.
Yeah.
And I said something happened. And I went back to my mom's house, and that's almost 23 years ago today. 23 years ago this January, I've not had a drink or drug.
Wow.
And
that's incredible.
And then a year later, I started back in the film business trying to get my career back.
Yeah.
I couldn't buy a job, and I kept getting rejected, and none of them knew about my issues.
Right. Yeah.
But then God smiled again. I get a phone call from a gentleman who gave me my first job, David Ellis, and he said, "How would you like to double Harrison Ford?"
Oh, wow.
So I went from the gutter to doubling the #1 box office star in the world.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the kind of God I serve.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And so that's how I got back into the film business and went forward until I had to leave in 2008.
Wow. And what caused you to leave?
When I broke my neck in the Italian job, I lost 3 years of work trying to get healed up, get out of the work comp system, which was a nightmare. And when I started back to work, I'd gotten married to my ex-wife, Kelly. And unfortunately, in 2008, she decided she was going to move on. And so I had to make a choice, Patrick, to be a stuntman or be a dad.
Yeah.
So I filed for my first I filed for my pension, then I filed for my medical pension.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to be a dad.
Oh,
and that's what I've done. I walked away from all the big money and all that stuff to be a parent.
And I bet you have no regrets.
No, that's good.
That's wonderful.
It's well worth it.
Yeah, that is great. Well, let's take one quick break, and then when we come back, we'll finish up. And I just got to ask you one more thing.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So hang with us, please. We'll be right back. Speaking with my good friend John.